Alright guys, so I got some videos I'm trying to get pumped out here. I actually got a whole list of stuff I want to do and I just don't have time. Plus I'm looking for a new background. This thing sucks, and I know it does, so I apologize to you guys for this fugly colored. It's my dining room table, and that's what the wife wants, so. But I can't find anything. I want to find something gray, because I think black and white kind of can screw up your colors. I want to get something gray, and I'm also messing with different light colors, different Kelvin lights, so that I can try and figure out something that doesn't bleed the color out. So anyhow, so I got another knife. Like I said, I'm kind of on a Balisong kick at the moment. Just happened to some things come up for sale that I haven't seen up for sale in a long time. Of course, I haven't really been looking that hard, and I had to pick them up. Plus, I got really good deals on them, so it was really hard to pass up. And I do have some notes somewhere. Come on. So this knife, I'm sure I'll put it in the description, is the Benchmade 30. I got it with its case sheath, which was a little bit dirty, but I just blew it out with an air compressor. Works good to clean these because the dust and stuff will just blow right through. So this one here is the Benchmade 30. Now there are several different versions of this that can be hard to tell if it's a 30, if it's a 35, if it's a Pacific Cutlery Model 10. The Model 10 from Pacific Cutlery, which was what Benchmade was before Benchmade was Benchmade. I went over this in one of my other videos. And they call it PCC, was from I think they started in 83, 84, and then Benchmade was in 88. So a Pacific Cutlery Model 10, the handles look the same, but the blade shape is different. And the difference between a Model 30 and a Model 35 Benchmade, a Model 35 has the recesses in here, and also these pins are flush, similar to this. This is my Pacific Cutlery Model 68, so it's more like this, the 35, but the blade shape is different. The difference between this, the PCC, and the Model 35 is the blade shape. The blade shape on the 35 is a Weehawk blade shape. So, and this is just stuff that I've scratched together, so if any of this information is wrong, I'm not the know-it-all. I've done some research and looked through some flyers and whatever. So, this is the 31. Let me give you some specs real quick. It is 5 ounces. The closed length is 4.5. The open length is 7.5, and the blade is 3 1/4. And the first time I seen this was 1990. It's the first time I seen it in a catalog. So exactly what year this was made, I'm not 100% sure. Has the T-latch. The handles are stainless steel, and it has the Weehawk style blade. And I know you're all cringing at this point. Yep, this thing's been used and abused. Alright, sorry guys about that break. The UPS guy showed up, and then a storm blew in like a minute after he left, and knocked the power out. And I was without power for almost a day. So this is a day later. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. I don't want to redo the whole video all over again. So anyhow, like I was saying, this is the 30, and the blade on it has been used and abused. And for those of you out there sharpening knives, and I don't know why this is not focusing. If you are sharpening your knife and you're actually hitting the sides of the blade with a sharpening stone or whatever system that you're doing, stop doing it. You could potentially have a knife that is a collector's item later down the road, and you could seriously be jacking up the value of the knife. You should never get scratches on the sides of your blades. You are sharpening incorrectly. You only want to be hitting this very front edge, you know, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch in. So anyhow, you know, I don't know what exactly the scenario was that this blade had been through, that it received all the scratches. The pictures that I were given when I purchased it were a little bit blurry, so I wasn't exactly sure what I was getting into, but I did know that it was scratched up. So I did get a really good deal on it, and I did want it for my collection. At this point, I honestly don't know if I'm going to keep it. I might sell it, so if anybody's interested, let me know. The other thing is if any of you guys know how to repolish this blade back up, and I want some professional responses. You know, no offense, but if you're 12 and, you know, you took sandpaper and polished it for 3 days straight, I mean, obviously I could do that. You know, I don't know if I've got my little 1x30 belt sander out there. I don't know if I should try and use it because I've got up to like 1,000 grit sandpaper, or if these scratches would be taken out just by using a buffing wheel and some different compounds. You know, so if you're a knife maker or something out there and you've polished your blades before from having them scratched, and you have some suggestions, you know, let me know. I would like to get this thing back to, you know, somewhat respectable looking. If I can do that, then I might keep it. It also looked like somebody tried to sharpen this back edge a little bit. I went and hit it with my belt sander and dulled it down because I don't want that coming around and smacking the back of my hand and cutting myself for no reason. So if anybody's got some suggestions on that, I'd greatly appreciate it. You know, even what grits to use. I hate to get started in it and screw it up even more than it already is. So anyhow, that is the 30. Show you a little comparison to what it looks like beside the Pacific Cutlery Model 68. And maybe when I get these all in here, I'll zoom up on them. So the 68 has got a utility blade. The holes are recessed where these are just, they're not recessed. The pins on here are, they're flush. They're flush pins. You can hardly tell that they're there. T-latch, pretty much the same otherwise, size and weight. Benchmade 31. These are titanium handles, which I just recently anodized, which I might do a video on. And I got this knife from the same person I got this knife from. And obviously there was some blade issues with this one as well. I did polish, I don't know why this thing's not focusing. I did stonewash this blade because I could take it apart, so I've removed the scratches that were there. But this blade shape is kind of funky. It almost looks like a regrind. It looks smaller than it's supposed to be. But hey, you know, like I said, I got them for extremely cheap, so I'm not going to complain too much. And then I've got the Benchmade 32, which is the G10 titanium liners. So that's kind of how they compare up. I will say that the Model 68 is by far my favorite. The weight, the size, you know, these handles are a little bit skinnier than the 30. The 30 doesn't have as much rounding on the edges, so it's easier to pinch yourself in here. You know, pinch your fingers in here. It grabs a lot easier than these will. The 31 to me is just a little bit light, and it might be because of this blade has, you know, maybe been reground and it's lost some weight off the end. It doesn't feel as balanced as it should, but you know, still a nice addition to the collection for what I paid for it. The 32 is actually a pretty comfortable flipper. It definitely does have a different sound. It's definitely quick. It doesn't smack the back of your hands as hard. So I think this is probably the most comfortable flipper out of these four. But I still, the nice solid traditional feel of the 68 is still my favorite. I love this knife. So that's kind of a quick comparison and a review of the 30. Still a good flipper for its size. It's obviously not going to be as good as a larger model. You know, these are all the 3-inch blade size versions, and it's probably, you know, it's probably at the bottom of the list as favorite wise goes. But it's still way better than a cheaper piece of junk. And if anybody knows, want to give me some tips on getting those blade, those scratches out, and the bad part is I can't take this apart like I could on this one or this one, so I can't just throw this thing in the stone washer. You know, I would do that if I could, but these pins in here are non-removable, at least not by me. So if you get any suggestions, let me know. Or if you're a professional knife, custom knife maker or something, that you have a website, you're reputable. I know I'm not just going to send my knife out to anybody, but if you're able to put this in and maybe re-grind it and polish it for a fee, let me know. I would consider sending it off. And that's pretty much it. If you guys got any questions or comments, I have received a couple more Balisongs I plan on doing some reviews on, and then I'm going to do a whole collection update. And I might sell some of them. I might let some of them go. So keep an eye out for that. And if you are interested in it, I'd probably get rid of it for 125 to 150 bucks. It would be worth a lot more. I mean, it is a collector's piece, but the scratches are there, so that's why it's in that price range. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Later.